Um, there are so many esoteric corners of the Twitter software and the system operations that make it hard to, it's hard to keep running. Can't emphasize that enough. It's not it's not like some app on the phone that just works. It's a super complicated thing. Financially, it was a very tough situation because Twitter in a normal year would do probably $4.5 billion in revenue, $4.5 billion in cost. So it's a, it's they'd probably lose a little bit of money because that's why I call it a really expensive nonprofit, because Twitter is over its lifetime, I believe, negative on profitability. Like, it's lost more money than it's made. But because of the high price of the acquisition, which is very foolishly high on my part, there's $12.5 billion of debt, and debt servicing is $1.5 billion. So, and then there's a cyclic decline in advertising that seems to start maybe around May of this year, but was pretty significant. That's what you saw Facebook and Google and others also do some layoffs as a result. So there's a cyclic decline in advertising, and then a pretty major pause in advertising where advertisers they just put their campaigns on pause. They didn't definitively say no. I mean, in a few cases they did, but most.
You mean in response to you taking over and promising free speech? They're like, oh, we don't want free speech.
Yes. Well, it's more like they are worried about something that would affect their brand, I suppose. Although it seems like sometimes they worry about the wrong things. Yeah. The things they should be worried. They should be worried about some things, and they aren't worried about other things and should be. But nonetheless, there were a lot of the advertisers put their advertising on pause to kind of like see where things go, and that causes about I'd say almost a 50% reduction in revenue immediately. So in rough terms, we're doing about negative $3 billion a year in cash flow, and possibly trending to do worse than that, possibly 4 or 5. It's hard to tell where the bottom was, and $1 billion in the bank. So roughly 4 months to live.
What were the options if you ran out? Like, you would have to continue to fund it. You'd have to seek funding from outside.
Yeah, I mean, there's a limit to how much Tesla stock I can sell, and I can't sell it all the time. I mean, the reason I sold stock in December last year was, which I regret at this point, was because I wasn't sure how much money Twitter would need. I thought, I might in October it was a $6 billion cash burn, and we don't know where revenue is going to bottom out. I had to get the company to financial stability, which I think we're close to financial stability, roughly not quite break even, but close to it. And I think trending positively. I think it's at least the plane's in level flight. The engine of engineering, software engineering, is in much better shape. I think we've deployed more features and capabilities in the last 6 months than Twitter has done in the last 6 years. So we're 20% of the team.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was worth it? I mean, do you ever regret it and go, why did I do this thing just to make a stand for free speech? Or
I think it was necessary, and I wouldn't say that there's anything that's, in retrospect, has caused me to. I think it was still the right move to acquire Twitter, even at the outrageously high price. Yeah, I think it's going to turn out to be important.
Well, the price wasn't just financial either. It's like,
no, I mean, this is I should say, like, I do. There are other investors besides me in Twitter. I'm the majority owner, but I want to make sure that those who invested with me do not suffer losses. So I'll make sure that the ultimate outcome is better than their original investment. But so I want to be careful about, so but certainly this is a hard way to get richer. That's for sure. This is the mega pain way to make money. There's a lot of pressure on whoever's running Twitter, to do this or that on the platform, as you might imagine. At any given point, someone powerful is unhappy, basically. So anyway, but I think it was still important to do. Because pretty much all of the social media companies and the search companies were acting in unison, and along with the legacy media. So it was just, where do you find, actually, where do you find the truth? And if everyone is in lockstep with a lie.
Well, did you see Obama's comments recently in a CBS interview? I think it was CBS, where he was talking about how the thing that keeps him up at night is how the media, there's like diversity in the media now, and there didn't used to be. And so now you have different narratives and people basically inhabiting different realities. And that's the thing that's like keeping him up at night, is like the big problem that we face right now.
He wanted to go back to the glory days.
Yeah,
there was one narrative,
and the media was unified.
3 different channels all telling you the same.
So you disagree. You're telling us you disagree.
Well, I haven't seen the full video, so it's possible there may be some contextual elements that mitigate.
Community Notes will help us with that one.
Yeah, Community Notes is being pretty good. I'm watching it closely to make sure, because as Community Notes gains credibility, the value of gaming it increases. So we got to make sure that it is as ungameable as possible. You may know this, but the essential idea behind Community Notes is that a note is only shown if it is rated highly by people who historically have different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So where do people who would normally disagree agree?
Yeah.
And so even if there's a lot of people from, say, like one political point of view, or it doesn't have to be political, but one point of view, and there's only a small amount number from another political point of view, they still have to agree. You can't just brigade the thing with one ideology.
I think the value in Community Notes goes so far beyond just like fact-checking notes. It's actually entertaining. When somebody gets noted, it's like it's better than getting ratioed. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
The humor value of some of the notes is high. And I think it encourages...
When fact checkers get noted, it's so ironic, it's beautiful.
Well, we have so much experience with fact checking because we were getting fact checked by Snopes all the time for our jokes. But that was just one blue-haired lady or something getting mad at one of our jokes. And it's so much more powerful when it's, like you said, people that disagree.
Yeah.
The community coming together to fact check something.
And yeah, the ones that I see they're solid. It's like rare to see a wrong one. So, and anyone can get community noted, including me, obviously, as well as advertisers and presidents of countries and whatnot. So, I think once you get noted a few times, it's an honesty amplifier. So.
Well, and they're not used to it.
They're not used to it.
Yeah, people that are on the left or just in their own echo chamber, government leaders, they're not used to that kind of accountability.
They're not. I think it definitely comes as a surprise when they get a community note for the first time.
Have you been noted? How many times have you been noted on?
I'm not sure. Maybe 3 times.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I've never been community noted, I don't think. Babylon Bee hasn't been community.
Not yet. I was wondering about that. if we're gonna get like marked like this was satire, if people believed it was true or something like that, but it hasn't happened.
No, we don't make any truth claims, really, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
That was the
people
weird thing about
believe
the
it,
fact checks. Yeah.
People believe it sometimes.
They
I can't tell if it's real. I can't blame them. I
No,
can
some of these
never blame
headlines
them.
are, I can't, some of these articles are, I can't tell it. I can tell that it doesn't have a B logo on it, but
Right.
but the actual text of the headline is indistinguishable from a Babylon Bee, piece. So it's very, very common at this point. It's a crazy world we live in.
Yeah, that's why I don't blame people when someone says that they make fun of people who think that satire is true. I'm like, I don't. The real headlines are so satirical in nature. They seem like a parody. So if you believe a B article, it's just that naturally is going to happen. So you want to see,
like you see some of these things where it's like free speech is bad from free speech or something. if there was like one headline to that effect.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
like,
is this satire or real?
is satire real? It's like,
Right.
I
yeah.
don't know.
You can't tell.
New York Times had like critical thinking is bad for our democracy or something.
I remember that, yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? That's insane.
There's a lot of those.
There's a lot of those.
But you want to see Twitter be a place where truth prevails through debate, right? Where people can
Yes.
actually go back and forth rather than you having somebody from the top down deciding this is what's true and this is what everybody needs to believe, and in lockstep unison putting that out there and silencing it and stamping out everybody else.
Yes, we definitely want divergent narratives. That doesn't mean they have to be, that people need to get violent about it or anything. But I think you want to have a marketplace of ideas where people, have different viewpoints. They argue their viewpoints, and maybe some minds are changed along the way. There's both. There's also is the narrative true, and who's choosing the narrative. I think who's choosing the narrative is a bigger deal than is the article. Is everything in the article accurate? Because there's a lot of things you could write about on Oath. Why write about that thing?
Yeah.
So yeah. So the aspiration here for X/Twitter is to be, I would call it the least untruthful place on the internet. Like we should acknowledge that there will be things that are untrue on the platform, but we'd like to be the least untrue of any place. And
people have a right to be wrong anyway. They have a right.
Well, right to be wrong. But I think we're succeeding if Twitter is the place where you can get the most accurate, the closest to the truth, and different perspectives on the truth to the degree that it's subjective. That's the goal. Pretty straightforward.
And Elon even thinks that he has the right to share his opinion.
Yeah, he has the audacity.
Which we found out.
The audacity to share your own opinions. I was thinking the opposite. So this is a reference to the interview that you had recently with CNBC, and you were asked why you tweet certain things. Why do you share that publicly? Why do you share it widely? Why don't you keep it in? And the question
What,
is,
they're like Soros' Magneto?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Sorry, Magneto.
Controversial things like that.
I shouldn't have said that.
It's unfair to Magneto.
It's unfair to Magneto, exactly.
My mind goes the opposite direction. I'm like, what's in your unsent drafts? I want to know what you're not. I want to know what you're holding back.
We promise we won't publish this.
Yeah. We'll turn the cameras off.
I probably there've been a few cases where if I still want to send this tweet in the morning, I will do so. And there've been a few cases where I should have done so that would have saved a lot of grief. So there was some truth to that. Like a good friend of mine said, I'm not going to suggest that I stop tweeting, but you might want to consider saving it as a draft and seeing if you want to tweet it in the morning.
Yeah.
That's good advice. That should be a Bible verse.
Yeah. I think like Lincoln did something where he used to write these like angry letters to people, and then he came to the conclusion that it really wasn't doing any good. And so he'd write the angry letter and then see if he wanted to mail it the next day.
Put it in a drawer.
Yeah, stick it in a drawer.
Yeah, put it in a drawer. I believe that was, and then he almost never mailed it.
Yeah, but you don't write angry tweets. I see you write angry
once
tweets.
in a while, or then sometimes that my tweets are seen as angry when they're not. So it's difficult to convey tone, or sarcasm in a tweet.
We need that sarcasm font. That's a feature there.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
You seem kind
What
of.
is a sarcasm font?
I don't know. We gotta make it up. Right? Oh, it's like the SpongeBob. It's the capital letters and
The capital yet lettery thing, yeah.
Make a sarcasm font on Twitter and we can use it.
Okay.
You seem taken back by that question though. Like,
No, I'm
why
just
are
trying.
you
Like, how would you
asking-
visually show that something is sarcasm?
Oh yeah, I don't know. There's no way to do that. You need a disclaimer.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it. He's trying to come up
Now
with
he's
it.
calculating.
Now it's a problem. He's got to solve.
You can animate the font.